What is up, and welcome to Rock Gamer, and it's time for my weekly DLC reviews where I talk about this past week's Rock Band 4 DLC and give you my thoughts on the tracks. So this first one is by the Hollies. This one's called Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress, and this one I have to say is a pretty solid song on guitar. It's very varied. It's very heavy on the chords. It's got a couple, single notes thrown in as well, but it's definitely more of a chord-centric kind of song. I did find that it's definitely on the easier side, but I found it was really enjoyable. Even though you think it would be repetitive, it's actually not. And it's one of the better guitar songs of the week. Definitely recommend you buy the guitar. The bass is quite boring. It's really, really heavy on the sustains. I mean, the one positive thing is that the sustains are sort of varied over the fretboard. It's not the same button you're hitting, but I find it's a little too slow for my liking. I would say the bass you could probably avoid. I feel even the same about the drums. The drums are really boring. They're super repetitive. It's a really standard rock beat. And there's even times in the song where you're basically just waiting to play. You're basically standing around doing nothing for 15 seconds for the drums and bass. Our next song is Bad Case of Loving You by Robert Palmer. And this song is definitely on the easier side for guitar. It's very, very chord heavy. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first song. It was a little too repetitive for my liking, and I also found that, there wasn't really anything that caught my attention. The one thing I did like about the guitar is that it has a fun little solo. So the section just before the solo and the solo is actually pretty fun. It's pretty much on the easy side, but I still enjoyed it. It was varied enough. The drums, I'd say I felt basically the same way as I did about the previous song. They're very repetitive, standard rock beat. There is like a little bit of change like towards the end of the song where they'll throw in like a random tom hit as you're playing a standard rock beat. But other than that, I just found it was too repetitive, and I found the bass was the same. The bass was super boring. Play a bunch of notes on one color, switch the fretboard to another color, and rinse and repeat. Definitely a song to avoid on most instruments. Let's go into our final song of the week. Final song of the week is Lust for Life by Iggy Pop, and this is definitely probably the hardest song of the week on all instruments. The guitar is super fun, really well varied, and definitely faster than the previous two songs. Definitely recommend you buy the guitar track. The drums I was sort of conflicted about. I found the drums were mediocre at best. It's almost 6 minutes long, the song, and you play pretty much the standard drum beat you see right here for most of the song. It sort of changes up later on. You play like a ride and snare beat later on, but there's a couple different variations of fills. You'll be playing a lot of fills on the snare. You'll be playing some on the rack tom. Overall, I thought it was pretty mediocre. It was a little too repetitive for my liking. The bass is enjoyable. It's a little more repetitive than the guitar, but I still found it was quite challenging, and it was a little bit fast, a little too fast for me to play, but I still enjoyed it. That does it for this week's songs, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe for the latest Rock Band 4 Amplitude and Guitar Hero live news. Take care.